Welcome back to another edition of Tech in the City. I'm your host, Yvonne Pilon. For those of you just joining us, Tech in the City is a regular podcast where we talk about the latest tech, the latest gadgets, and really what has our local community buzzing and the world. So today we have a really great guest. I'm so excited to have Kegun Morkin on the show, who is not only a brilliant 15-year-old, but he's had an experience of a lifetime recently, which we're going to get into. But first, let our audience know, who is Kegun Morkin? What are you doing? And we know you're 15 and you're a student at Assumption High School, right?
Yeah.
So tell us more about yourself.
So I'm in the IB program at Assumption, and so I do automotive photography in Windsor. I've done work with some pretty big names. I've done with Formula First Collision, Audi Windsor, and different brands like that, and just really into cars.
And what grade are you in?
10.
Yeah. And is there any kind of future plans of where you want to go?
I mean, first I want to go to the Odette School of Business.
Yep. I'm an alumnus, and I can say I really enjoyed my Odette experience. So.
I went to the stock trading program.
Oh, wonderful.
Not the program,
Great.
the competition.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. So reason you're here, obviously, is you have a love for cars, and there's a really big event happening right now. Yeah. But you love cars, and doing a little bit of research and knowing you've loved cars from a really young age. So how did that happen? Tell us more.
Well, like that Cars movie, the Pixar one, that was my first movie I've ever watched, and that really set the point. And
great
from
show.
there, and very good movie.
But I laughed when I remember watching a video and you were mentioning playing with dinky cars when you were a kid. And also you had a car bed, which were so cool. My brother, I think, had a car bed till he was like 15. He's probably going to be mad that I said that. But those were so fun. So it's interesting that you kind of lived this thing, or this love for cars. And I know you're, you love the photography element, and you can see that in your online presence. And you have quite the following on Instagram. So how many followers do you have?
65,000.
And how long did that take? Because I have about 6,000. And I feel like I've been doing this for forever.
2.5 years. That's
wow.
I've been.
And what do you
on
post? Just
cars, like my own photos. It originally started as videos. I'd repost other people's videos, which that went viral at the time because there wasn't many videos, and progress from there.
So social media is important when we think of personal branding. So what are your thoughts on social media? Like, you use it obviously to promote, cars, but do you have any kind of advice for other kids looking kind of build out their social media?
Get on it. I mean, originally I've probably made 7 or 8 accounts before that, just trying to get followers. And I mean, eventually you'll hit that point where people will just like your content. Just post what you enjoy, actually.
Yeah,
I think that's the main thing.
that's good advice. And I think, social media is more than just taking pictures of food and what we're doing. Like, you can really build yourself a business out of it, which I'm sure that's part of probably one of your plans. But why we're here today is a local media company hired you to be, I guess, what was your title, I guess, at the auto show?
I guess journalist would be
You were
the
like
best.
the head journalist for a very large media company here locally, and you got to interview literally like the top CEOs of automotive companies, which is amazing, which we'll get to in a second. But how did this happen? How did you get this opportunity?
I literally emailed CBC Windsor, and they got back to me, and I just progressed from there.
And what's so interesting is that it's so simple, right? You just put together an email, you saw an opportunity, and I have to commend you. And this is why I know, Kegun, you're going somewhere, and your mom's probably listening in the other room. Yeah. And I'm sure she knows that too. But so many people don't make that extra step. So if you're listening and you're in high school, the opportunities are not just going to come to your door. Sometimes, most of the time you have to go get them, especially at a young age. So I think to you is like one email. Did you expect after that email for them to respond and be like, hey?
Yeah, no, not at all. And especially to take it to this caliber that,
So, okay, so tell us really your experience. Good. So they said yes. You're now kind of the journalist, like going behind the scenes at the Detroit International Auto Show. You got to experience it before the public experiences. So what was that like?
It was like amazing. There was actually quite a few people, almost as much as public usually, but everyone respected what you were doing because they were there for the same thing. Yeah. So it was, and interviewing all the different people, it was amazing. So
what were, I guess, some of the key people you interviewed, and kind of what were your kind of favorite parts about your experience?
Well, I interviewed the CEO of Mercedes-Benz Canada, Brian Fulton. and then I interviewed the Ford CEO of Canada and just different designers from BMW. And just tons of different, and
So-
actually Christian von Koenigsegg, which is a founder of Koenigsegg, which
And Sergio Marchionne, I believe you interviewed. So what was the question you asked him?
I asked him what they're doing to target young people like me with their cars. Like,
And what was his answer? I'm curious.
Well, he said, do you always wear that? Because I was wearing a suit at the time. But he just mentioned the tech. Like, he kind of almost avoided the question almost. But he said the tech was the main thing. You know, kids love the tech. So that was the main part of that.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, and I did also see you with Minister Baines, Navdeep
Yeah.
Baines, which is just amazing. You know, I imagine you're probably still in like this is real. This isn't a dream. You got to do this, and you probably were the youngest person there, almost.
I only saw, well, actually, one of my friends from Detroit, he was there, but he's 14. But and then there was another like little kid, but. From what I saw, it was only us three, but he didn't get the opportunities I did.
So was there a conversation or a person that really stood out to you? Like you got to meet, Mercedes and Ford and Fiat. Like who was that one, that one person or conversation that you were like, wow.
Well, there's two main ones. The one is Christian von Koenigsegg, the founder of Koenigsegg. That's been my favorite car brand for like 5 years. And out of the blue, I just saw him, and then we asked him to interview, and he said, yeah, sure. And got to interview him as well as Mercedes because they're taking me to the Toronto Auto Show now, which is really cool.
Mercedes is taking you, or the media company is?
Mercedes, actually. They told the Toronto Auto Show they told me to apply, and then Toronto accepted me.
So
and,
just is going to go from one opportunity to another. So one email, people, has, now you're connected with the heads of Mercedes-Benz, which is amazing. So favorite part of your experience? Was it
probably all the connections I've made. Toyota wants to
Yeah.
take me to the SEMA show in Las Vegas, which in October.
I heard that's great too.
Oh yeah, that's probably one of the best shows in the world. So
you have a favorite part. Do you have a least favorite part?
Funny enough, that when going over the border, we had to sign something called a carnet because all the camera equipment and whatever that the company had. So you had to wait in secondary for everyone to go through, and you couldn't have your phone or anything. You just had to sit there and wait for them to sign one paper, and you had to leave.
Yeah, that's a joy. Sometimes when we cross the international border, it's obviously Detroit has a lot to offer, but sometimes we get stuck.
Yep.
So I have yet to go. I know the big celebrity preview is happening tonight, and then the show's on tomorrow. I guess opening to the public on Sunday or tomorrow. Tomorrow. So for those that have not gone, what can they expect? What were kind of like? What were the cool things? I know I read there's a lot more tech there than there was in the past, right? So what were kind of your what would you say were the cool things you saw? The must see exhibits, that type of thing.
Well, I mean, Mercedes, they just dropped the new G-Class, which it looks much different on person. People gave it a lot of slack, but in person it looks so much better than it does on pictures, as well as Koenigsegg with it's the fastest car in the world. That's at the Michelin stand, so that's cool. And this part, I'm not sure if it's at public. It's called Automobile D, and it's all like the autonomous vehicles, and that's super cool.
Yeah, Mobility, I believe, is it's a startup zone, and it's only happening for 2 days, I think Saturday and Sunday, and it's basically 50 tech companies and researchers that are really building the future. Now, did you see? I was reading here. Well, they're expecting almost 1 million people, so 800,000 this year to the show. But there's a cool thing that I thought was really interesting is autonomous vehicles are a big topic. So there was, and I don't even know if I'm pronouncing this right. It's like Enride T-Pod. It's a Swedish company that has the first self-driving semi-truck. Did you happen to see that while you were there?
I did see it.
Yeah, so that's pretty crazy and
cool.
cool.
It was really cool, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're putting it into production next year.
Well, they said they wanted to put a number of fleets or trucks on the roads. I know for Windsor, we've got, soon to be 2 bridges, and I think that's a really great opportunity. And I know a lot of people are working on this, how do we test trucking, autonomous trucking on that. So I agree. I'm looking forward to, is Tesla there? And no. See, I'm sad because I'm admiring Tesla.
Oh yeah, Tesla's cool.
And the brand that they have, and the cars are so sleek and they're so fast. But any other things that were kind of stood out to you at the auto show?
Well, this also won't be at public, sadly. It's like the gallery night.
Yeah.
They had all their cars there, which
they're the fancy
new Rolls Royce and
yeah,
stuff, and the
it's
Bugatti
amazing.
and But
So I have to ask, what's your dream car?
the Koenigsegg RS.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned that earlier, but I wasn't sure if you're going to answer. That was a test to make sure you're on the same page. I love new cars, but I've always been like a, old school Nova, a Camaro type of girl. But the new cars, like I said, it's going to be interesting when we think about the future of auto. And I know you've been a part of it. And, you've loved cars since you were young. I have a few more years over you, but when you think about autonomous vehicles, and it's not that far away, right? There's, I think, 5 phases in the autonomous vehicle kind of spectrum, and we're in about phase 2.5 right now. Scared, excited? How do you feel about not having a driver, not needing to, like, in your case, you'll be getting your license soon, but having no one drive? Like, how do you feel? Like, or what are your thoughts?
I mean, it's cool for some things, like getting you to place A to place B when you don't want to drive. And but personally, for me, I like driving, and I think, like, I don't know if this would happen, but autonomous vehicles will be safer than people driving, and maybe they'll just honestly ban driving. Like, I'm scared if something like that would happen, but I think it is a good thing in some ways, but in the same ways it's bad.
And that's what they're saying. It's more of a, it's happening. It's going to be a psychology element, right? Is like, we're so used to having control. Yeah. And what's really interesting, and I know I find it extremely interesting, is how everything around it, we're focusing on the car, but how insurance is going to change. And we look at police forces, and they make funding through parking tickets, but if cars are driving themselves, they're going to drive the speed limit. And do we need parking spots? Because cars won't likely park on the street, they'll park at your home. And will we buy one car? They say,
do we need licenses? Like,
exactly. And can you put your child, can you drink in the vehicle? There's so many things to think about, and that's what's so interesting. And I hope to see that. I didn't see it that much last year at the auto show, and I'm hoping to see that more this year. But so you are an anomaly, I think. You're one of those those young people who is not only very intelligent, but very passionate about what you do, but you're a go-getter. So what advice do you have to other young people that really want to kind of just you might not be thinking about what you want to do, but that you need to meet people? Like, what advice do you have for people to to be more like what you're doing?
Just get out there, really. I mean, I've attended different shows, like I helped create a Mustang rally at Rose City Ford and stuff, and just get out there. I've met so many people just at that simple one rally, and one email. Look at where I am now. Like, just get out there.
I think I might ask for your autograph after this. So what do your parents say about this? Are they must be so excited and proud of you?
Yeah, they're pretty excited. Now they want to come to Las Vegas with me.
Of course.
But
of course. Have you been to Vegas yet?
Nope. This is going to be our first time.
It's pretty amazing. And that's the SEMA conference you mentioned, right? Yeah. I haven't been to that one. I'm still trying to get to the Consumer Electronics Show. Yeah. But yeah, your parents must be super proud. What advice would you give to students your age? Again, looking to build their resume. So you talked about, getting involved. Do you volunteer? Are you part of any clubs? Like, kind of give me some ideas of, like, outside of school, what do you do?
Well, I'm a part of this group. It's called Windsor Import Nights, and it's a bunch of people who actually like build their cars, and like they take time, and we meet up, and I do photos for them and stuff. And also a Porsche club. I help host a Porsche club in Windsor. So
wow, I love the Porsche. Is it the Macan?
No, it's any Porsche, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
I love the SUV one. I'm trying to save my pennies.
There's a Macan and Cayenne.
To take out the smaller version that was launched, I think, at the auto show a few years ago.
Yep.
So I heard in an interview that next steps for you, you talked about wanting to be a professional, like, auto photographer.
Yeah, that would be.
I heard the word entrepreneur, and I feel like you kind of are an entrepreneur, or maybe an intrapreneur. Right now, if you were to say where you see yourself, obviously going to a debt, but what would be a dream career for you, or a dream, job?
Really just continue on, like, social media and with automotive photography. I know there's a guy out in Los Angeles, Spencer Burke, and he does pretty much what I'm doing now. He just does social media marketing and management, and Michelin invites him to different car shows and stuff, like Car Week in Monterey, California, and that's kind of what I want to do,
So now that you're kind of entrenched into the local community, and, like, what, from your perspective, how can we make Windsor a better place? How do we, and I'm not sure, like, once you graduate, do you want to stay here locally?
I mean, I do. I love the city because, this is where it all started.
Yeah.
I've met so many great people here, but maybe stay here and then travel around for the different car shows. And
yeah. So do you have any advice? Like if you were mayor for the day, what would be some of the things you'd want to do?
Maybe get kids more involved in tech. I think hands-on more, because I knew originally when I saw photography, like when I started seeing around it, I thought, wow, boring, you're taking a photo. But then I actually tried photography with an actual camera, and man, it changed from there. That's
amazing. Think about where technology is going, or where cameras have gone. Or we went from like literally going into a dark room and doing our film till now we've basically have like our phones are these beautiful cameras, which is amazing. Now, are you part of First Robotics? I know Assumption has a team, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I'm not a part.
We got to get you part of First Robotics. I'm a first junkie. I love the organization. So I don't know. Is there anything else you want to share today about your experience or any advice? Like I said, you've got your airwaves are yours, and it's so you motivate me, and it's so great to see when I meet young people like yourselves, and I think of you at 15. I only wish I was doing what you were doing at 15, but it's so important. I know career is not your top of your mind, but the decisions you make today will likely predict what your future, right? So I think you're doing a great job online. You're clearly killing it already with I wish the Mercedes-Benz guy was or the ladies talking to me, but they're talking to you, which is awesome. And I saw that your story went national, and talking about here's this 15-year-old who's like one of the lead journalists for an international event, and I hope that you pat yourself on the back. And like I said, so I'm sure your next little few years is just finishing up school, and then wonderful. So I just want to thank you for coming on the show, and again to congratulate you, and I hope we can keep in touch, because it's surround yourself by smarter people than you, and that is why I'm inviting you to this show today, because I think you are just brilliant, and we look forward to seeing your face all over the news and reporting on what's next for the auto industry. So thank you so much, Kegun, for joining us.
Thank you.
And that wraps up another episode of Tech in the City. We will see you soon.